Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Muhammad Wafiuddin and today I'm going to present about investigating sport commitment and recreational sports participation among UiTM Seremban 3 students during pandemic COVID-19. Commitment to sport and exercise programs is an important topic which has recently received considerable attention by researchers. According to Yang Muhammad Khairi Jamaluddin, the former Malaysian Youth and Sports Minister, only approximately 40% of people in Malaysia participate in sports at least 3 times per week. As a result, sports participation has indeed been identified as one of Malaysia's national priorities. The sport commitment model was proposed and used for the study of factors influencing commitment to sport and exercise. The model examined motivations that comprise persistence and loyalty to exercise and sport settings. The sport commitment model is widely used to understand the motivation and sport commitment of athletes to continue playing sports. Now, however, the factors influencing athletes' commitment to sports have not received much research attention, especially in Malaysia. The reason why I chose to study this topic is because the number of populations who exercise regularly in compared to those who live an unhealthy lifestyle is still decreasing. The sport commitment model is important to consider because it may contribute to a more comprehensive understanding of sport participation or dropout. Now, since the sport commitment model encompasses different types and sources of motives, it may be a useful tool for clustering athletes based on these types and sources, and thus determine athletes' profiles. The sport commitment concept has been extensively employed in young athletes and a small number of adults. Now, according to the researchers, indicating a lack of research among university students. Now, this lack of empirical focus on sport commitment in duplicating such findings in the university context has resulted in little data on the amount of recreational sports engagement among university students. Now, these are the three main objectives that will be focused on the present study. Now, to investigate the level of sport participation and commitment, and to find the relationship between the two variables. For literature review, now Scandon, Carpenter, and her colleagues suggest that commitment is a motivational force promoting continued involvement, and therefore is defined as a general psychological state. Now, sport commitment is defined as the psychological construct representing the desire and resolve to continue sport participation. Now, sport enjoyment is described as a positive affective response to a sporting event that expresses broad feelings like pleasure, like, and fun. Now, this concept is more distinct than a basic global evaluation of positive, but it is also more generalized than a distinctive feeling like a pride. Personal investment is defined as personal resources invested in the activity that are not recoverable if participation is terminated. Now, these commodities are typically things like time, effort, and money. So, involvement opportunities is defined as valuable opportunities that can only be obtained through continuing participation. Now, these chances can be real and relatively verifiable, such as the opportunity for mastery or to be among sport buddies, or they can be primarily in the participant's mind, such as the notion that participating in the program is the only way to stay fit. Now, lastly, for social support, increased perceptions of support and encouragement from significant others is associated with continued participation. Now, for instance, all the athletes in a New Zealand study felt that social support enhances their commitment. Now, commitment is thus predicted by sport enjoyment, personal investment, involvement opportunities, and social support. Now, for research design. The questionnaire that I used was from the sport commitment model. Now, it has 20 items consisting of 5 components, which are sport commitment, sport enjoyment, personal investment, involvement opportunity, and social support. Now, benefiting from the quantitative studies of many scientists and mixed methods research, the sport commitment questionnaire captures the commitment process in a more comprehensive and nuanced manner. Now, due to the pandemic, all students are not in campus. So the survey was conducted online by using platforms such as Google Form. Now the respondents have the option to either answer or decline the given survey. Now this survey was spread through messaging apps and students' email to make it easier to reach students through online platform. The population of the study was students in UiTM Seremban 3, consisting of 3 faculties, the FSR, FSKM, and FSPPP. Now, the sample size is 357, calculated using the CRASH-C table. The sampling method that was conducted to choose the population was convenience sampling. Now, the samples collected were volunteers from students in UiTM Seremban 3, consisting of 117 respondents. The sport commitment model questionnaire uses 5 points Likert scale. I chose the Likert scale as to make the respondents' answering effort easier rather than having them to figure out their own short answer. Now, the survey will be open for 3 months, enough time for the author to spread the questionnaires through messaging and collect data. Now, a pilot study was also conducted, and the Cronbach alpha was obtained at 0.936 alpha value. Now, these are the procedures of the study in order to ensure a smooth process. Now, each and every session was led by the author, and lastly, the questionnaires were then collected in 3 months. Now, for data analysis, the software SPSS was used. Now, the pilot test was used on a total of 30 students to test the validity of the questionnaire. The responses were collected and analyzed after the pilot test was done. Now, minor changes to the questionnaire were expected. The respondents were asked to read the questions carefully and answer using the 5-point Likert scale. Now then, the descriptive statistic method was used to analyze the level of sport commitment and the level of recreational sport participation. And then, Spearman correlation was used to find the relationship between 2 variables. Now, for result, in the present study, the respondents' gender consists of 59.8% of male and 40.2% of the respondents were female. In terms of faculty, 40.2% were from faculties Science Sukan dan Rekreasi, 40.2% from faculties Science Computer and Mathematics, and 19.7% were from faculty Sains Pentadbiran dan Pengajian Polisi. Now, regarding the level of education, 56.4% were from diploma and 43.6% of the respondents were from degree program. Now, most respondents are from M40 at 53%, followed by 42.7% from B40, and lastly T20 with only 4.3%. Now, in this study, 59.8% of the respondents answered yes in sport engagement regularity, with 40.2% answered no. In terms of times involved in sport during the past week, the highest percentage answered 3 or 4 times is at 40.2% from the total respondents. The lowest percentage category is 5 or more times at only 13.7%. The result obtained from the questionnaire showed the highest percentage in recreational sport, which is jogging, at 24.8%, then followed by badminton at 18.8%. Then rugby has the lowest percentage in the type of sport engaged at only 0.9% from the total respondent. Now, in terms of time engaged in recreational sport in minutes, 15.4% of the respondents has not engaged in sport during the past week. Now, the mean score for sport sport commitment shows a mean of 3.197 for sport enjoyment, 3.342 for personal investment, 3.145 for involvement opportunities, 3.254, and lastly for social support was 3.268. Now in this slide, we will discuss on the intercorrelation between sport commitment and recreational sports participation. Now the table shows that the correlation coefficient between sport commitment and recreational sports participation was 0.845. The result obtained from the present study also shows the correlation between the sport enjoyment and the recreational sports participation at 0.789. Now, the recreational sports participation correlation with personal investment was 0.824. The correlation of involvement opportunities and sport participation was 0.762. And lastly, the correlation between sport participation and social support was 0.817. Now, this Spearman correlation results shows that there is a significant strong positive relationship between sport commitment, sport enjoyment, personal investment, involvement opportunities, social support, and recreational sport participation among students in UiTM Seremban 3. Now, this also shows that the higher the sport commitment, sport enjoyment, personal investment, involvement opportunities, and social support, the higher the level of their engagement in recreational sport. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the findings. Now, the study of sport commitment and recreational sport participation among UiTM Seremban 3 students suggests that sport commitment, sport enjoyment, personal investment, involvement opportunities, and social support are significantly and strongly associated with recreational sport participation. Now, the findings of this study corroborate those of John and Riedinger, who found that respondents' commitment was linked to their frequency of windsurfing activity and buying behavior. Now, students who have enjoyment in their sports will increase their engagement in leisure sports. Now, according to the findings of this study, which are compatible with Wang and Chu's study. Now, this indicates that the component of fun should indeed be considered while creating recreational activities among university students. Now, the current data also suggests that the amount of time, effort, and money invested by the students in terms of time, effort, and money may also have enhanced their recreational sports engagement. Now, students who have calculated the cost of participating in recreational activities, such like their time, energy, and financial resources, are more likely to persist and grow their involvement in those activities. Now, moreover, the current study discovered that the students who valued the chances they had and acquired from engaging in recreational sports, such as the opportunity to meet, to be with their sport friends, and the anticipation of having fun with their coaches and sporting activities they took part in, could improve their participation in recreational sports. Now, according to the findings, lastly, the social support has such a significant effect on a student's recreational sport participation. Now, this finding backs with a study by Lukacs and Sangaridu, which indicated that both friends and family can promote the student's physical activity and time invested outside playing, but friends influence having a larger impact. So this is all from me. Thank you for listening.